One of the most powerful companies on the planet. New chips. Compute is going to get crazy fast. The future of robotics.
Same black jacket, though. NVIDIA did a giant 2-hour live Apple keynote type of show and kind of blew us away with what they announced.
They're saying this is a new industrial revolution. Sundar Pichai called AI perhaps the biggest invention since fire. And
fire.
I'm assuming our audience is familiar with the invention that is fire.
Yeah.
NVIDIA is saying that the future is this AI industrial revolution. And that's convenient because if this is a gold rush, they are selling pickaxes. And what they showed off this week are faster pickaxes that are fully integrated so that if anybody wants to get into AI at the enterprise level, even at the prosumer level, which we'll get to, they have solutions for everyone. Custom hardware, custom chips, even with robotics. I mean, this was a 2-hour... He was almost like a rock star on stage, and in many ways is in the tech sector.
Yes. Which is funny because he is a nerd. He is an awesome nerd. Like, this is a guy that did not come out of a marketing department necessarily.
This is not a concert. You have arrived at a developers conference. There will be a lot of science described.
We were huddled in a hotel room watching this back like giddy children on Christmas morning because these are future gifts if you believe in the promise that is AI. So the too long didn't read. The distilled for the broad audience is that they have a new architecture, new chips, and basically you're going to be able to have server farms of these chips that are going to crank out and process these AI models so much faster with so much less energy usage, so much less resource usage.
So there's a new chip that is called Blackwell, and Blackwell is essentially 5 times more powerful than their last AI chip.
Blackwell is not a chip. Blackwell is the name of a platform. This is Hopper. Hopper changed the world. This is Blackwell.
And one of the fascinating things about Blackwell, as you can tell how big a deal this is, they rolled out quotes from Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Alphabet and Google. Now, when you hear those names, that is the powers that be that we've talked about in AI. So you can tell this is the company that sits at the middle of all of that.
In the Mount Rushmore of AI, all of those faces are on the mountain. NVIDIA is the mountain.
Exactly.
Right? NVIDIA is sold out of their current hardware for like the next 2 years. And it's all of these massive companies that are their customers, buying up every chip they can because the next future of AI, whether it's video or real-time game generation or highly efficient chatbots that can code, it's all going to rely on these NVIDIA chips to process and crunch all of that data.
So let's talk about a few of the other things besides Blackwell, the new chip. Nims. Do you want to describe what is a NIM, Kevin?
Well, it stands for NVIDIA Interface Microservice. Think of it like an app on your cell phone, if you will. What NVIDIA wants to do is make a container format for all things AI. So that means if you have a chatbot, right? That's one set of code. That chatbot needs to connect to a model, which is the data set that powers the chatbot. Well, that's another piece. If you are doing image generation, Gavin, you might have a LoRa or something which contains the character that you want to generate. What NVIDIA is doing is offering a container, a module that you can build for it and pack all of that information into that one little thing so that in the future, if you or I want to integrate with a chatbot, if we want to generate artwork, if we want to create video, rather than having to bolt on 3 different things, it's all in one. And NVIDIA is even offering basically like a marketplace where you can go and download these individual NIMs that will run on your NVIDIA graphics card.
They want to be much bigger than just chips, right? It feels like they want to own a lot more of the AI conversation, which is a little bit weird to me about how all those quotes came in, because all the quotes came in because they knew those people all need to buy these chips from NVIDIA, but also NVIDIA is going to be a competitor with them.
Now, one of the cooler things I think that's easy to grasp, because there were pretty pictures that went along with it, is the NVIDIA Omniverse. You want to dive into that?
Yeah, so the Omniverse is their really interesting way of creating digital twins of the real world to simulate environments and allow people to plan out both building plans or robot pathways in warehouses so that you can do something in a simulated universe first, and then it would react in a real universe. So basically what you're doing here is you're building an environment that looks like a real world environment. And they showed in the video, like building a giant tanker ship or a carrier ship or building
or a warehouse, which might not sound sexy,
No.
but it's fully modeled and has physics. So if you're going to spill a bunch of cardboard boxes into an aisle to simulate a warehouse oopsie, Amazon can do that virtually. And it's super powerful because you can test the layout and the structural integrity of the warehouse well in advance. You can put your simulated machines in there and see how they were about. You can simulate humans walking around. Pilots train for thousands of hours in simulators, right? So that they don't have to make the mistake and have the oopsie in the real world.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing and by the way, for everything, not just robots as you think, like the bipedal stomping around, future Skynet stuff, but like forklifts, cleaning bots,
podcast recordings in hotel rooms.
We simulated this.
This was in part created for the Apple Vision Pro, right? So within the Apple Vision Pro, wearing this and being in the Omniverse is a very good use case of the Apple Vision Pro.
Correct. And you can pilot yourself around environments and see one-to-one at scale how your environment is playing out. One of the coolest demos, because I think we're going to end up talking about the robots next, was this, you called it a robo-purgatory.
Oh my God, it was so horrifying. I felt so bad for these robots.
It was robo slip and fall simulator.
Yes.
It's this huge 3D environment where they have a bunch of robots learning how to walk and navigate uneven terrain and little pits.
Let's be clear. It isn't just that. It is a robot obstacle course designed to get them to fall over.
Yeah, it's a Robo Ninja Warrior.
Little up steps and little down steps, and they're basically throwing hundreds and maybe thousands of simulated robots and watching them fall over.
The robots are coming.
Yes.
Maybe faster than we expected, and NVIDIA is going all in.
Well, and so the big thing here is they announced a specific chip, the Jetson Thor Robotics chip for robotics. So you think AI, you think NVIDIA is already way in advance on stuff. They're seeing the robotic stuff that we've talked about on our show that we said last week. I think there are probably 40 to 50 individual research departments, companies that have these robots that are doing things. They've created a chip for these robots specifically to get better at learning, to get better at knowing how to operate in the real world, to also learn what we've talked about, teleoperating. A lot of these robots learn by teleoperation, meaning that a human is doing something to show them how to do it, and they learn from that. All of that is going to get better with this specific chip.
They want that chip everywhere, and they are on a path to do that. And there was a shot of Jensen on the stage, digitally flanked by every robot that matters,
that was
right?
Fantastic, by the way. It's so cool. I keep thinking, as a kid that grew up loving science fiction, robots feel insane, right? Like, I can't imagine a world where you and I are in this hotel room, and instead of us holding these microphones, we have our robot.
The robot arm is adjusting to us and doing our camera shot. Yeah.
But that's not that far away anymore.
No, the beginning of that video, I felt like I was watching the intro to a science fiction movie.
Exactly.
It really did.
In a bad way, some ways. It's a little bit scary.
It was a little
right?
ominous. Yeah, it was. But or they would say,
was it ominous?
That was a 2-hour presentation. I think we distilled it into 2 minutes for you. But what you need to know is that the future is coming faster than we expected. NVIDIA wants their tendrils in all of it. And the robots will be here very, very soon.
That's correct.